Hey everybody out there, you're tuned in to 91.8 The Fan. You're in my corner and I have a returning guest in the corner. Would you like to unveil your secret identity to the masses?
Oh, well, I guess it's no longer a secret. Hey, everyone, this is Mike McFarland.
Well, we'd like to put you on the spot, see if you can come up with any magical superheroes that are better than Aquaman.
Better than Aquaman? That's almost all of them, isn't it?
I know some people like Aquaman. Some people think he's okay. I'm that one person. That's it. That's it. But anyway, last time I didn't get a chance to talk with you. Chris did, and this time he gets to sit in the background. So, haha, Chris. Ha.
Haha. Ah.
Yes. One of the things, though, that we didn't get to mention last time because, well, it hadn't been announced, is that Toonami made a return since the last time we talked to you. And you
Yes.
actually happen to be working on a show that will be premiering on Toonami soon.
Yes, they're going to once again air some awesome One Piece episodes. And I believe they're starting at episode 206 or 207, somewhere in there. It's where the widescreen HD format of One Piece begins, and it's a great place to start.
That must have been really exciting to hear that it was coming back to TV.
Yeah, it was. I had no idea that that was in the works. I just assumed that most of our shows that someone is making some sort of attempt to get broadcast somewhere at any given time, but I never know which one it's going to be or what the plan is. Uh, I just continue working and just do the best I can, and hopefully someone will get to see it. And if it's broadcast, then more people will get to see it. So
And a lot of anime fans are supporting Toonami, which is always nice to see. I was
yes.
I was kind of worried we'd see it come back and then people would be like, "TV? What's a TV? I threw that out years ago. Cable." Because everybody is connected to the internet nowadays.
Yes, yes. But, some folks still like to sit down and have a nice run of some broadcast material to make up their evening.
Yeah, not like my mom, however, just turns on the TV and falls asleep. She's that age. Most anime fans aren't that age, so they don't do that.
Yeah, it'd be bad for Toonami if they were. Everyone would miss it, or they'd have to catch it on if it on DVR or something.
On TiVo.
TiVo too.
I've forgotten that TiVo existed until just now. But I will say that I'm happy to see that anime fans kind of united to make that happen. That must have been interesting to see for someone who's in the industry.
Yeah, it's cool to see the support behind it, and it's cool to see the weekly levels of excitement and the posts on all the social media, and just that everyone is so behind it and so excited to have that outlet.
Definitely. And I know that one of the last things that Chris got to talk with you about wasn't just One Piece and it wasn't just Summer Wars, but it was also, he didn't get a chance to talk to you about Dragon Age,
Ah, yes, Dragon Age.
which came out last year. And I know that was a huge deal because not only could anime fans enjoy it, but so could video game fans.
Game fans as well. And for myself, it was the first, as far as me being a voice director, it was the first prelay project that I'd ever been a part of. We actually set the pacing and tone for the animation, so rather than just dub it.
Well, now, was that experience a little bit difficult to approach, or did you find it easier, or what did you like about it?
I found it easier, I suppose. It wasn't a as far as my recollection of how the process works. It wasn't necessarily the truest form of prelay, like a Family Guy or a Simpsons or something. We had animatics and a few other things to work with that kind of held up the overall timing, et cetera, et cetera. But as far as getting to read the lines the way that or portray the lines that I'm getting lost here. As far as the getting to the actors to perform the lines, they had a lot more freedom to do so through my guidance. But we didn't have to adhere to like the pause must be here, and the line must be written in this way because we have pre-existing animation. The script was written out to for the American actors.
And do you think that was easier for the actors to go in and do it that way, or do you think that it was a little bit difficult that they didn't have, I don't necessarily want to say crutch, but essentially they didn't get to hear it out of somebody else or see it?
I overall think it's easier to do it that way. I'm sure there are differing opinions on how that entire process works, ADR versus prelay, but I find it more difficult to, at least from an actor's standpoint, because I've done both. I find it more difficult to give a believable, organic performance for anime, basing off of a performance that has already been done in another language, as well as animation that's not going to change, and try to make that sound like that was the way it was meant to be performed to begin with, rather than just mimic a performance. Um, I think it's easier to come up with your own performance. I think that's just generally what you're supposed to do as an actor. So as far as like, the character's like this, and I have to come up with all of these sorts of things on my own organically. I'm like, well, that's what you're supposed to do. That's what you're trained to do as an actor. So I think doing the prelay kind of stuff is a little bit more freeing and a little bit easier than it is to do some ADR work where a lot of the choices are already made for you, and you have to make it sound like it is your choice.
And there are always some things out there that I know don't translate very well to the West, like desus and ending a sentence with nya or something along those lines.
Yeah,
Most people in the US will scratch their head and go, "What?" But some anime fans understand it and they're not bothered by it. But
right.
not everybody.
Not everyone.
So, do you have a personal preference with sort of endings to a sentence like that in how you work? Do you usually write those out, or do you feel that you want to see if the actor can actually put those at the end?
It just depends on the show. Like for One Piece, my general rule of thumb is uh, just let it be weird. One Piece is a weird show. Everyone has weird laughs. The animation is kind of broad and bizarre, and that's the charm of the show. So if you try to tame that and pull it back and get rid of those things, then you're taking away part of what makes that show fun. So if someone has a vocal tick or a vocal quirk, and we can make it work in a dub, then we're going to do it.
I have to say, I feel like, especially for One Piece, if you make it not so weird, a lot of the fans would be really disappointed.
Yeah, and I agree with them. That's why that was why I was saying I don't think you should tame it. I think you should just let it be the weird, charming show that it is.
Well, the plus side is you don't really hear a lot of those ticks in serious shows, for example.
Right. Yeah.
And that's not where you'd want to necessarily hear it.
Right. Something like Ghost in the Shell, Standalone Complex, or Full Metal Alchemist wouldn't work if everyone had a woo ha ha chi 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 laugh or something like that.
I love those classic female ones that are like ho 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 or whatever they are.
Yeah.
I can't do it because I don't have that talent, but I wish I had like a friend I could just record that could do that laugh perfectly and just play it whenever I'm like sarcastically amused. Just have a soundboard with me everywhere. Now, one of the things that I did want to talk about since we're talking about Dragon Age, do you remember bits and pieces of your character? Can you tell the fans about that?
Of my character?
Mm-hmm.
My character, let's see, it was only in a chunk of the movie. It was, let's see, just a moment here. Lazaro, that was his name. I was trying. What was it? Lazaro. Lazaro had basically one scene. He was someone that had some information about who had arranged all the bad doing that was going on in the kingdom, and Cassandra sought him out to rough him up and get info out of him.
Now, we saw a very positive reaction to the Dragon Age movie. Did you guys see the same reaction from both video game fans and anime fans?
Yes, I mean, as with anything, as even with Iron Man 3 that came out this past weekend, there's people who are going to love it, and people who are going to not have any issues with it and just kind of be apathetic about it, and then some people won't like it. It's that way pretty much about everything, but there was a lot of positive response to the Dragon Age movie, and that is very much appreciated.
Well, because we've seen a lot of like video game adaptations, I think, from a fan's perspective that are just horrible. And so I feel like it's nice to see that a take that's handled with care.
That was the goal. So I mean, obviously we're not the same company that made the game, but we worked in close contact with BioWare and to get everything going, and they were with us through all the major steps of the process.
Definitely, and I'm sure the fans love to hear about that. Though one thing I'm interested in that I love to ask the people that come on the show, when it comes to anime versus video games, do you see any differences between the fans? Do you see one as maybe more passionate, maybe one is more angry?
Um, no, I mean it's not that they're the same fans, at all. But as far as like the types of fans you run across, it seems to be, the same type of folks. I think there's more gaming fans out there than there are anime fans. Just it's a broader scope and it penetrates more of modern pop culture than anime does. But as far as someone who just wants to play the game and have a good time, someone who's really into all the voice acting and all the performances and wants to know the details behind everybody that's involved with it, someone who wants to you know hate it from the ground up and nitpick it apart, and have to approach their approaches it to anything like that is to prove to me why I should like this, otherwise it sucks, which is a big downer attitude. That's the same kind of fan base that you run across with anime.
Well, I think one of the interesting things with video games is how it's grown, like in the past 5 years, past 10 years. It's ridiculous.
Yes.
It just keeps going on an incline. And what's interesting, I think, we were seeing a fad of it, I believe, like a few years ago, and I haven't really seen it as much, but of like celebrity voice actors.
Mm-hmm.
And I think now it's not as important. I'm hoping it kind of keeps on that trend because I feel like you guys have a place, and it's so sad when I'll play a video game and it'll be a celebrity voice actor, quote unquote, and it's they're just not very good at it.
Well, it really just depends. There are some, and by celebrity, we all, it's on camera people is what we're talking
Yes.
about. We're used to seeing in film and television and
Like if
seeing
it was Nicole
the face.
Kidman or Patrick Stewart, but Patrick
Yeah,
Stewart does great voice work, but
Patrick Stewart is a great actor, and it doesn't matter his format. He's a great voice actor as well.
it's kind of like Morgan Freeman.
Yeah. But I mean, I don't know if the trend is backing off or not. It, it's you could trace it back to, I believe it's the Aladdin movie is what everyone kind of pinpoints the beginning of celebrity on camera celebrity invasion into the voice acting world. But you still see major animated features come out, and 99% of the cast is on camera celebrities. So not sure uh, if it's pulling back or not. I guess it just depends on the project. I know some game projects still have it, but I think either Steve Bloom said it or he quoted someone else saying it, and I fully support it and believe it. You blow so much of your budget on getting some of those people in to do that it's going the money has to come from somewhere. The budget doesn't get bigger, so it's either going to come out of the game itself or what you pay the other staff or what you pay the other actors or anything like that to make it happen. And the question is it worth it to just be able to put that game, that name on the box, or put the name in the credits for IMDb or at the end of the game or whatever?
Well, I remember very distinctly when Castlevania Lord of Shadows came out, and the voice cast for that was like such a big deal. That was the big selling point. And I played Castlevania Lord of Shadows for 3 hours, and
Mm-hmm.
then I got bored, and I didn't want to follow the story. But I could turn to like Final Fantasy 13,
Mm-hmm.
which, has more vocal talent versus on camera, I
Mm-hmm.
suppose. So, and be immersed into that and play that 3 times over.
Well, that says something to you.
Well, I think that it's something interesting. I remember reading on the internet, or it was a video or something where it had a few commercials, like endorsements done by like on-camera actors,
Mm-hmm.
and it was like, can you even tell who this is? Like it was comparing the two and asking you to guess the actor, and most of the time I couldn't. Like, it's the question of does the celebrity voiceover actually even make you think of the celebrity?
Right.
So I think that's an interesting point to consider, and I'm seeing a lot of fans seem to contest it and uh, vote for the side of their favorite voice talent.
Well, everyone has an area of specialty. I consider myself an actor and a producer and director, but as far as an actor, I work on camera, I work on stage, I work on a bunch of things, but I definitely have done a lot of voice work. And there are other actors out there who've done much more of the flip-flop, and we all find our place to be. And if someone like Patrick Stewart or whatever does voice work and it's fantastic, cool, keep giving him more. But if someone comes along and doesn't do a fantastic bang up job, just because they have a name that you think can sell a few more copies, it doesn't necessarily make it better for your game. I know the bottom line is the important thing, but if word of mouth gets around that it wasn't worth it, and that that your game sucks, or that whatever else is happening, it certainly doesn't help if there's celebrity status in there.
Definitely. Now, for the fans out there, are there any games that you want to promote to them? Anything that they should be looking out for that you might be making a special appearance soon?
Well, the last two games that have come out that I've been a part of were Borderlands 2, and among some of the game itself and in some of the DLC. And I was also in the Walking Dead game Survival Instinct.
The Walking Dead certainly made a huge splash.
Yes.
That was ridiculous. I'm surprised. Like I remember watching the Spike Video Game Awards,
Mm-hmm.
and it won like Game of the Year, and nobody expected it, but it was so cool.
There are indeed multiple Walking Dead games. I didn't watch the awards show, so I don't know which one it was, but this one that I'm in is fairly new, so it's probably a different one.
Yeah, it's I believe it's the one by Terminal Reality.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I believe that's the one you're talking about, the Walking Dead Survival Instinct.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, which is for Wii U, Xbox 360, and PlayStation 3, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Cool.
yes. But yeah, the fan base for that's ridiculous. I haven't even checked out The Walking Dead the show because I'm kind of over the zombie hump personally. I'll still play it in my video games, but I haven't checked out any. Like I kind of skipped all the vampire shows and all the zombie shows.
Well, within each of those is goodness. Like it doesn't have to always be the same thing. The Walking Dead is a fun show.
Yeah, I have a lot of people trying to get me into it. And they're like, "You should watch it. Go watch it." I'm like, time. Where do I have time?
Well,
I can't even watch Animu anymore.
it's on Netflix. It's on a few other places. You should check it out when you have some time. The time that you say that you don't have.
I will try. I will, or I could always play the video game instead. That would work too.
There's that too.
And then I get to listen to you, and that would be great.
I'm slowly working my way through shows that everyone has suggested to me forever. So I'm trying to, as I go to sleep nightly, watch an episode or two of some things that have been suggested to me. So I feel your pain.
Okay, I'm good. That's good that we have some sort of link, some sort of connection. Well, no, because like I'm super behind, especially when it comes to anime. I always have to ask Chris. Actually, I'm like, is that the show with like this looking character and blah blah blah? Like I'm a year or 6 months behind because I always, instead of simulcast like everybody else does,
Mm-hmm.
I wait for the DVD or the Blu-ray. So I'm still waiting, for example, for Tiger and Bunny Part 2.
Mm-hmm.
And I just picked up Case Closed, so I'm like super behind.
Yes, you are.
I need a DeLorean, and then all my problems will be fixed. Well, now, in terms of other projects, do you have any other voiceover projects or even theater performances that you want the listeners to know about?
Theater is an off and on thing for me, and I don't have anything on the plate right now. I'm still currently, and by currently I mean we still do shows from time to time. My improv sketch comedy group, Section 8 Comedy, performs in the Dallas area from time to time. I shot a pilot, but I think that it's still under wraps right now as far as the network and where it's going to hopefully be aired, et cetera, et cetera. But it was a crime show. So.
Well, we don't want the ninjas to slash your throat for breaking NDAs or anything.
No, no, but I think crime show is okay to say, but yeah, beyond that, I probably can't say much about it. But if whenever I can, I will try to post something about it.
And now, where can listeners keep up to date on your upcoming projects? Can they stalk you in a nice way on the internet?
Yes, on the interwebs. Let's see. On Twitter, I am Mike McFarland VA, and on Facebook, I have a fan page, and my personal account I allow for subscribers, but I try to limit the actual number of quote unquote friends that I have on there, but it's open to all. The friend limitation is more or less because I only have so much time to go through my social media. I want to keep it as brief as possible. So if I log it up with the up to 5,000 friends I could have, I would probably just never even go there.
You'd have way too many wall posts. I have like 300 friends and I can't even read everything on my wall.
So you know what I mean? It just takes so long to keep up with. So, but if anyone's interested in wanting to know where I'm going for dinner or whatever, then they could, subscribe to that. And if they want to know more about, upcoming projects and work that I'm involved with, then the fan page is the better place to be.
Well, I'm sure they can keep up to date not only on where they can stalk you at restaurants, but conventions as well. I'm sure you'll update those with that.
Yes, I update as I find out. Much like I wait until the announcements are made by the cons themselves, and then I try to follow up and say, yes, indeed, I shall be there.
Well, you don't want to announce anything before you've, dotted the I's and crossed the T's.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Because that's always fun.
It's important that the conventions get to make their own big announcements. So
Definitely.
I want to follow up accordingly and let them go first.
Well, on the plus side, by you promoting it, you also promote the convention. I'm sure the convention's very happy about that.
Everybody's happy.
Exactly.
Yes.
That's how we all want to be. Well, now, for the listeners out there, is there anything else you want to say to them? Any words of wisdom, dating advice, weather predictions?
Weather predictions. I predict sometime in the very near future that this winter will actually end. It kind of has to, being that we're, in May. In Texas here, it's still getting down to the 30s in the evenings, which is ridiculous.
You too. I'm in Las Vegas, Nevada, and we have very similar weather. So
yeah. When I post about it, some people are like, well, that's nothing. You should be up here and blah, blah, blah. It's snowing. I'm like, I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about one of the southernmost states in the United States, Texas. We're still getting 30-degree weather at nighttime. That's insane.
Yeah, it's raining and thundering right now here. So
yeah.
We're starting to move into the showers, and then maybe it'll get very, very super hot. Which is always awesome.
Yeah, I mean,
like an egg on the sidewalk.
I am not looking forward to the Texas summer that we usually have. Last summer was the most tolerable summer we've had in over a decade, and it still got over 100 degrees many, many times. But as far as non-weather related things, be sure to keep supporting Toonami. Watch some One Piece. I believe Alchemist Brotherhood is still on there as well. I believe Soul Eater's still got a run going. There's lots of cool titles on there. And check me out on the Twitter. Check me out on the Book of Face. And yeah, that's what I got.
I'm pretty sure Soul Eater has been on for about a month now. I don't think it's been that long, so I think it's definitely still going.
Yeah, it's still in the early portion of the length of that show, where we're still in the early parts of it, so you can totally catch up.
I can tell because everyone on Twitter is like watching it in unison together. So I'm always getting updates exactly what's happening every single episode on Twitter. I blame Todd Habercorn. You started that, I'm sure.
Yeah, the corn is good about that.
And for anybody out there that missed any of this interview, shame on you, but don't fret. It'll be up on the website within the next few days, so keep it tuned to 91.8 The Fan. Everything you want and nothing you don't.